Welcome back to Don't Repeat What Mommy Says.
Don't do it. And it says motherhood unfiltered, and this is what we look like in the wild. So
I'm
if
sorry.
you want to judge us, that's fine. F you. Because I'm a freaking grandma. I look like an ass.
Yeah, it's it's been a day. I told her before we started recording, I'm like, I have to at least have eyebrows, okay? I can't record without eyebrows.
Well, I tried to get contacts today, and so I didn't want to put eye makeup on. I'm trying to grow my hair out, so that looks like ass, and I got roots, and it's a bad scene. So anyway, motherhood unfiltered, and don't repeat what we say.
Well, and for any of you people out there who like watch Grey's Anatomy, there's the episode where Mama takes Christina's eyebrows. I never had any to begin with, okay? So,
I Yeah, I mean, I paint mine on, and it's like this crap from L'Oreal that like stays on for like 3 days or some shit. But anyway, so be kind or don't be. I mean, if you want to comment and tell us we look like crap, well, screw you too. You probably look like shit too without your makeup on. But
yeah, it's been a day.
and we're doing a paranormal episode, so welcome to the scary mom zone.
Yeah, we got Victor back here for ambiance.
Ambiance.
So, paranormal. We're going to get into it. We're going to get through some of our weird paranormal experiences. So, just right off the bat, we believe in the paranormal.
We believe in the paranormal.
We've seen some shit. We've dealt with some shit.
We've done some shit.
And also, just a quick preface, we are Christian, so we will talk about how we've dealt with it as moms from a Christian angle, because that's just where we're at.
Right. And if you don't like that, well, I'm sorry. We are Christian. Try to get over it.
Yeah, I don't really have another religious perspective to go on based
I
on how
don't
they
either.
would handle, like, the paranormal and weird things happening.
Right. Right. But I mean, we're not telling you to be Christian, be whatever you want to be,
But this is what we do.
and probably our beliefs on where paranormal crap comes from, it might be different than somebody who's not Christian. So there's that.
Yeah.
So
Um. So, you
what
want to take it away with a paranormal story?
do we want a paranormal story or what I think they are?
You go with what you think they are.
All right, well, here's the deal. So, ever since I was a little girl, I've experienced paranormal things. And as a Christian, we believe that there is a spirit world that exists alongside our world. And I believe that's what paranormal crap is. Now, I believe that it's pretty much all around us all the time. I think I have no proof of any of this. So, like, don't be, write whatever you want to me and I'll try to respond to it. But no. I have no proof of any of this.
Yeah, so that's the thing, because like I see online, there's all these ghost stories that people have, and they've always got a video or proof of some sort. We got nothing.
No,
okay?
we got no proof.
We've got the stories. We've got like our people that we know who've witnessed it, but we never like we didn't have cameras in the house to record it. The one paranormal thing I got on camera one time, the camera wasn't recording. So
Right. And so so I've just always experienced paranormal things and as a child I thought everybody did and maybe they just didn't talk about it. So not that like every second of every day there's paranormal stuff. I believe some people just notice it and other people just don't. Why? I don't know. I have no friggin' clue. I will tell you this. We don't understand the paranormal. So from where I come from, I feel like if you don't understand it, leave it alone as much as you possibly can. But I remember a friend of mine growing up when we were kids, we used to spend the night at each other's house and stuff. And I'm like, do you know, like when there's, paranormal stuff? And I probably said ghosts because I was too little to know what paranormal meant. I don't personally believe they're ghosts. I believe once you die, you're dead until the day of judgment. Again, I'm Christian, so yes, I believe in Judgment Day. So I don't believe it's like you're dead, whatever. I I could be wrong. I have no proof of any of this. But so anyway, she said, no, I don't feel that at all. And that's when I realized, like, oh, everybody doesn't experience this. So maybe I shouldn't publicly talk about it. And here I am publicly talking about it. And I have talked about it publicly before. Some people think I'm completely insane, which
Yeah.
is fine.
And you might think that by the end of this podcast.
You
that
might.
We're just nuts.
I don't think I'm nuts, but I suppose if you're nuts, do you know you're nuts?
I don't know.
I know. So I don't know. Maybe we don't know.
My thing with it is we've had some situations that have happened where too many people witnessed all the same
Yes.
thing. So unless it's some
Yes.
sort of like collective hysteria going on,
Right.
and maybe that's what it was.
What happens? Because like the nuns that were cats.
Well, and that makes me wonder about that town. Was it paranormal or was there like a gas leak or something and everybody was just
Yeah,
hallucinating?
but I mean, I've experienced paranormal stuff since like
Yeah.
before that town. That was just like a really evil, bad town. And we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But and premonitions. I've always had premonitions since I was little. And sometimes I see things while they're happening, but I'm not there. Or I see I've just seen things that have happened, but I wasn't there to witness it. But I could tell you exactly what happened. And the first time that happened, I was a pretty little kid. So uh, it is what it is. Now, a little vindication. I was watching a thing. I cannot remember what channel it was on, but they were talking about a program that they have or they used to have in the CIA during the Cold War. And so these people could find coordinates of where the enemy was eh, using psychic ability. And the guy told the guy who was interviewing him, and it was a guy who was involved in the program. He's like, "Oh yeah, you can teach anybody to do it. Everybody has psychic ability. They just don't know how to tap into it." And he taught that reporter how to do it well enough. He couldn't find the coordinates after an hour, but he could describe the location where this guy was that he was supposed to be finding. So a little vindication. So I think that I'm probably right about that. We probably all do have feelings or something, some kind of hooey
Intuition.
with intuition or whatever that maybe you're just not tapping into. Maybe other people are just it's easier for them to tap into it. I'm not really sure, but my instincts are usually spot on. I and judging people's character. I'm usually pretty good with that too. So, yeah. So but I've never like that stuff doesn't freak me out. Like paranormal stuff doesn't freak me out. And I'm very open to I just think nature isn't always totally logical. And I think as women, we're more apt to be okay with that. Like, this is just what it is.
These things
We
just
don't,
happen.
right? Like, we
Yeah.
don't have to understand it. Where men tend to get like, no, there has to be a logical explanation. I don't really think there does. Like, I just don't mess with it on purpose.
Yeah.
So there's that. But so we did move into a house. Well, my husband was not a believer at all.
No.
And I've told him, that I've always experienced paranormal things, and he just thought I was a whack job. But he married me anyway, so there's that. So what does that say about him?
Right?
Until we moved into this house that was extremely active. And the first time he believed it, I was sitting across the living room and he was in the recliner. And he was kind of snoozing, how men will do when they sit still too long, they pass out because they're all narcoleptic. Um, and the chair was moving like somebody was rocking it. And he's like, "Oh, Jennifer, quit rocking the chair." And I'm like, "I'm over here on this side of the room." And he opened his eyes and was kind of like, "Oh no." And so from that day on, whatever was in that house, and I believe it was more than one thing,
I think so.
because it would like, so I will tell you how to banish them when you need to banish them, because I do that.
Yep.
But I would banish stuff and it would just come right back. And sometimes it was pretty benign, and other times it was pretty maniacal. Like we had to disable all the smoke alarms because at 113, not 112, not 114, every morning all the smoke alarms would go off and they were all connected. So it'd be like, wah, wah, and then in the background you'd hear the little sexy voice, "Fire, fire, please exit the building." Every effing night, we needed some sleep. I was like, I don't even care if we die at this point. We have to disable these things. So we did.
Yeah. And there was all kinds of weirdness in that house. So there was a day, we had this girl and her daughter living with us, and they were staying in the room downstairs. So, like, the little hallway, it was like my parents' bedroom door, her bedroom door, the bathroom, and then the stairs. So the stairs, like, faced that
I
bedroom.
said I wasn't going to vape.
Yeah, you lied.
I totally lied. Sorry.
So I got home from work and I was about to go upstairs to my room and I heard the little girl's voice laugh in the back bedroom. And I was like, that's weird. Her car's not here. So I don't know why, but I did not go in that room. I didn't open the door, didn't look in there. I went and asked my dad, who was on the other side of the house. I was like, oh, are they home? He's like, no. So super weird. So I walk over there, I open the door, nobody's in that room. But I know I heard her laughing. And then it was like a couple days later, the girl who was living with us asked me if in the middle of the night I had come in and like got her daughter back to sleep because she's like, "Well, I heard you singing to her." I'm like, "I wasn't even home." So
Yeah.
things like that happened all the time.
All the time. And I didn't have like it was always there in that house, but it didn't really mess with me too much. But really messed with my husband
And
a
the dog.
lot. And the dog, my poor dog, like the dog went crazy eventually, and I'm pretty sure it was the house. But we really wanted to move that house because we lived in a trailer for a really long time when the kids were little because that's what we could afford. And so then the opportunity to move in this house happened, and we were all very excited to move in. We were absolutely, absolutely miserable in that house. The tensions were high. People were at each other's throats. You would feel very depressed in that house a lot or anxious.
Hmm.
Leave the house and everybody would be fine. My husband and I have a great marriage, pretty solid. We never fought so much in the 29 years that we've been married. So 20 years not in that house. We were actually in that house for 9 years. We fought so much in that house. Like
Yeah.
just out of character fights for us. Not that we were still like normal people, but we just like, wow, at each other's throats or just unhappy all the time. But then we'd leave the house somewhere and we're like, oh, love. Very strange.
Yeah. And then when like we had been there a while, we knew the weird stuff was happening. We knew we all felt like crap there. And then you guys had like a crazy moment
Yeah,
because they
wanted to
were
buy it.
renting.
We were renting, and I was like, maybe we should buy this house.
Yeah.
I love this house. Let's stay forever.
Yeah. They got like super weird. And then it was just one day out of the blue that you and dad were sitting there and you were just like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah,
And then they impulse bought a house to get out of
we
there. But I
did.
mean, we banished so many things. We heard voices. I didn't see anything. I know dad saw stuff at that
Dad saw
house.
stuff. I mostly heard things, and it touched me a couple times, which I wasn't okay with.
I mostly heard voices because I remember the time I thought I heard the little girl. And then there was one time, because I think you might remember it, I came running downstairs because you were getting ready for work. It was really early. I thought you had called for me, like
Yep.
angrily. And I
Yep.
came barreling down the stairs. I'm like, what's going on? And you're like, just
Okay,
making
and
eggs.
pro tip, if you're not a believer and you do experience some hinko stinko stuff, if you hear something using the voice of somebody that you know calling you, that is some bad juju in that house. You need to get it out.
Yeah.
Like you need to get it out. I had that happen when I lived in Cary when I was a teenager, and full disclosure, I was messing with paranormal stuff, which is not a good idea for me to do ever because I don't know if you believe in mediums or not, but I think there's like a thing, and it's not just me, it's a lot, especially the women in my family
Hmm.
throughout generations. So when I messed with that stuff, as kids will do, as teenagers, it kicked up a shit storm of stuff that really never left that house that we were in, and it really did follow me for quite a while, and maybe still does. So you might want to be
Well,
careful about that.
and that house we lived in that town, it was like there were four houses on each corner of the intersection. And all four of those houses had weird things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had the house across from us where like people would live there for a little while and they were all happy and great and ready to move in and then they'd be divorced, broken home, everybody hates everybody.
Yeah, and the one across from us, he actually murdered his son and himself.
Yeah. So like horrible things happening
Mm-hmm.
all in those like four houses, that little
Yes.
crossroads there.
Yeah, and honestly, we're the only couple that didn't divorce living there.
Yeah.
Of like from before we were there because we knew people before we moved there and the 9 years that we were there. But it was a near thing, and it's probably only because we really had a solid marriage before we moved there. But yeah, so my husband was an atheist before that house. He is not any longer. So there's that.
Well, and we had like things would go missing, which that's happened to us pretty much
Sure.
everywhere we've lived. Like things go missing and then they turn up in plain sight. Not that weird. It
I did
just
it again. I can't.
yeah,
I
it's
can't
okay.
not. I got to vape. I'm sorry. I got to be me.
I gotta be me. I gotta be free. I
Gotta be
gotta be
free.
me.
Gotta
um,
pollute my lungs. We're talking about scary shit.
right. It stresses us out a little bit.
No,
No,
it really doesn't.
No,
It
I
really
really
doesn't.
don't. No. So the one that stressed me out. Okay, so it seems to be with paranormal things, and I don't know where I was going with what I was saying before this. So
You
whatever.
were talking about
Exactly. We were talking about
stuff
the
missing
oh yeah, so like stuff would go missing. That's something I can kind of like look past. It was like
for sure.
the smoke alarms. The weirdest one, we couldn't find the dog. We couldn't find the dog anywhere. And I finally found her in the backyard. Nobody had let her out, and all the doors were locked to get to her.
So should I tell the scariest one I had in that house?
Yeah.
Okay, so I drove a school bus at the time. So I would come home after my morning route. I would do my workout and then take a shower, slap makeup on so I don't look like this, and go back to work. So I'm getting ready. I had already worked out, whatever. I was done taking a shower. I was like doing my hair or whatever. And my dog was in my bedroom, which was kind of right by the bathroom. And the bedroom door slammed shut. And this thing used to mess with my dog, like messed with my dog. And I was like, I opened the door, like I went and opened the door. My poor dog is like sitting there cowering, freaking out. I'm like, it's okay, Nala Bean, whatever. So I go back in the bathrooms, finishing my hair, and the door shuts again. So I'm pissed now, because I have banished so much crap in this house,
Yeah.
and so I'm like getting angry with whatever it is, not the best idea. So I slam the door open and I'm like, you better leave the door open and quit fucking with my dog. So I go back in the bathroom and the door slammed shut so hard. All the pictures in the dining room, which was also like right there, fell off the wall. And then the smoke alarms all went off. And then all of a sudden it got so cold I could see my breath. In which case I grabbed my Bible and I started banishing it in the name of Jesus. And the smoke alarm finally went off and the air returned to normal, but I pet the dog a little bit. I'm like, sorry, baby, but I have to go back to work. And I had to leave my poor dog there. It was horrible. That was the worst experience I had in that house.
Yeah, and like experiences I had in that house, none of them were anywhere near that. Like I would hear a voice here or there, or
Well, the closet door.
the closet door.
Because
Oh
we were
yeah.
together when that happened.
Yeah, the closet door like was creaking open to like cut off view between us.
Right. Because if it opened, so it was like an upstairs like loft.
Yeah.
And if if she was standing in the room and I was standing in the stairwell going up, but when you open that closet door, it would block the whole stairwell. And it wasn't an easy door to open. It would catch on the carpet, but it was slowly opening as we were talking until it totally blocked us from each other. And I'm like ignoring, I just keep talking to her like nothing's happening. And she's like, Mom, do you see this? I'm like, yes, I'm ignoring it, honey. I'm just like ignoring it. It's fine.
Yeah, and so like but aside from that house, we had weirdness like all over that town. So my friends and I like the typical weird goth kid thing to do was to walk around the cemetery at night, so that's what we did. For God's sake. So we were there was three of us. It was me and two of my friends walking through the cemetery. It was dark. And there was like two entrances to the cemetery and these big like stone pillars that are like 6 feet tall, maybe 2 feet wide. And we see this guy walking. Like two of us saw him, one of them didn't. One of us didn't. We see this guy walking along and he gets by the pillar and then he doesn't come out again. So we're sitting here thinking like this dude's gonna like ambush us as we leave the cemetery. Like we thought it was a real person with nefarious intent. And we get up there, there's no guy in sight. The only direction he could have ran was an empty field. So like we would have seen him if he had just took off the other direction. Just totally gone. So there was that one. And then another time in the cemetery, we walked in like so there was a sidewalk up to the gate. We got just past the threshold and there was music and it was really loud, like deafeningly loud. And my friend like turned tail and ran. She's like, "Nope, not doing it." But as soon as we were outside of the gate, the music was gone again. Super weird. But that whole
Mm.
town had weird shit.
But like I said, kind of anywhere I've been, there's always kind of been some activity. But honestly, and Lauren and I talked about this today, that trailer that we lived in was the least amount of activity I ever dealt with in my entire life. So it was like really peaceful there.
Yeah, like paranormal experiences there. I was telling her I had a couple as a kid where I would hear like a voice that was kind of creepy, but it never said anything bad. Like the one time I can distinctly remember, it called our cat's name, and that was it. Like almost no activity. That trailer was great.
It really was, and we were pretty happy there. It was small, but they made it work. Uh, Paige, when she was a baby, I was very ill. We've talked about it before on the podcast because I hemorrhaged really badly and all of that. Something would give her a bottle.
Yeah,
Wasn't me. So that was a helpful whatever it was. So I think that whatever they are, I think there are ones that are not bad, and I think there's ones that are bad. Again, I believe you, I don't know what they are. I don't know what's going on. I have my beliefs about it, but I just feel like you should leave it alone as much as you possibly can. Um, but now, what you can't somebody who doesn't believe in this kind of stuff, you can't convince them that it's real. Somebody who's an absolute believer, you're not going to convince that it's not real, right?
Right.
But what if you aren't a believer in any of this stuff and your child says that they've seen something?
Yeah. So, and I think you might have talked about this on a podcast before, but like,
I probably touched on
I think of
it.
it the
I'm sorry, I
way
gotta read.
it's fine. I think of it the way that they talk about dealing with patients with dementia. So even if you don't believe it, but your kid is really upset and they're convinced this thing is happening, telling them, no, baby, it's not real isn't going to help. They're just going to start getting distressed because now they think they're crazy. So, like with the dementia patients, when they would say something like, oh, do you see that little boy over there? You just go, oh, yeah, I bet he's nice. It's that sort of, you're not necessarily saying, oh, I see what you see, but you're not telling them they're crazy either. Because, like with the bugs, which I think was a night terror,
It was a night terror,
you
yeah.
sprayed pretend bug spray to
Yes,
kill the bugs.
my other daughter had she was screaming and freaking out because there was giant pitcher bugs. And she's like, "Don't you see them?" Which no, I did not because they didn't exist. But she did. And so I said, "That's okay, baby." I'm like, "Mommy, I'll get rid of them." And I sprayed the bug spray, whatever. And she went back to sleep and she was fine. If I would have told her they don't exist, I don't think she would have went back to sleep. Because she was terrified.
Well, and like, was it Aaliyah you were teaching her with the ghosts to just banish it in Jesus' name?
Well, yeah, okay. So whether you believe that this is true or not, I do. I've seen it, whatever, and my kids and my grandkids do as well. And so I believe you can make them go away in Jesus' name because I'm Christian. If you're not Christian, you can just tell them they're not welcome, go away. Um, it's an effective way to get rid of something at least temporarily. Um, and if you are a person who does see those kinds of things, um, you so whether you believe in it or not, if your kid is experiencing it, to give them the empowerment to be able to get rid of it themselves is very helpful. So you hurt nothing by giving them those tools, whether you believe it or not.
Well, and I've seen people who've done that who didn't believe in it, whose
Sure.
kids claim to be seeing things, and they've given them a flashlight and said, the flashlight kills the monsters. So you just shine the flashlight where you think the monsters are and they'll go away. But I mean, whatever you got to do,
Right.
like telling your kid it's not real, it doesn't exist, it's all in your head, isn't helping because to them it is very real in that
Correct.
moment. And I think,
And what if it is real? You just aren't a person who can see it
and I
or
think
experience it.
around kids that kind of thing ramps up a lot. Because with
It does.
Aaliyah, there was all kinds of weird.
Yeah, and so my parents, which is really funny because they always were skeptical, even though they've had paranormal experiences themselves. And my mother's seen some paranormal stuff because her aunt actually was really Italian and she's banished some stuff.
Yeah.
And my mother has been there for that, but people just want to be skeptical, I guess, because you don't understand it. But they were at my house. We were actually talking about that stuff. And Aaliyah and Paige lived with me at the time. So Aaliyah, it was like there was a mother-in-law apartment in that house, and that's where Paige and Aaliyah lived. So Paige was gone. Aaliyah was down for a nap, so I had the nursery monitor on. Now, it wasn't one with a camera. It was just sound. And my parents were over. We were in the living room, and we could hear a lady in Aaliyah's room talking to her, and then Aaliyah was talking back to her. They were having a whole conversation, and this was as my parents and I are talking about how they don't believe in paranormal stuff. And then my mom's like, "Who's in there with her?" And I said, "Nobody."
Hmm.
So we all heard it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And then of course I went in there, and she wasn't upset about that one, but later she told me that something had been bothering her, and it scared her. So I banished it myself. Um, but then I told her how to get rid of them on her own, and she hasn't complained about things that scare her since. But she has told me that things have been there, and she asked them to leave.
Well, and like with Henry, when he was still sleeping in the nursery, he would wake up like in complete hysterics, staring at something in the corner of his
Mm.
room, like crying, shaking, could barely calm him down. Something scared him every time. And we eventually got rid of it, but it took many times going in there during nap time and being like, you get out. I finally told my husband, I'm like, when you lay him down for a nap, you put him to bed at night. I'm like, you bless him, you bless the room, and then you leave. And that stopped it for a really long time, and it hasn't happened in a while. Um,
Well, and like some people, like my husband, he he gets like really dramatic. He's like, "The power of Christ compels you." I'm like, "Wow, you watch
yeah,
too
and
much TV." I just say in Jesus' name, you've got to go. That's it.
yeah, so then
No
like
drama.
in the realm of premonitions and stuff and weird things around kids, when Henry was first moved into the nursery, I had a dream that I looked on the baby monitor because I had the camera and I could see the mobile spinning and there was something standing over his crib that like looked up at me as I opened the camera. Um and it was I think the next day. I opened the camera app and his mobile is spinning and it took batteries, but there were no batteries in it because we never used it and the mobile is just spinning. So I go in there, I'm like, I don't know what you are, but you gotta go. Like, we're not doing this. This is stupid. My kid needs sleep. So I walk out, you know, boom, said my piece, I'm done. And as I'm walking down the hall, we have this like half wall where we end up putting mail and stuff. Everything on the half wall comes flying off the shelf after me. And I'm like, not in my house. And like, grabbed the Bible, banished it. I was so pissed because, like, you're going to screw up my kids' nap time and you're going to throw things at me? I don't think so. Mm-mm. So that's, that's how we roll.
Yeah,
But
we've had some creepy stuff. And then like so when people are not good, like
you can tell.
mm,
Yeah, because there was that guy in the trailer park and, like,
mm,
he always gave me hinky vibes.
mm.
And I knew, like, other kids would go to his house and they would talk. And, like, I talked with his sons. His sons were fine. A little weird, but they were good kids. Um, and it came out like years later that he was involved in some serious allegations, and I was thinking,
It wasn't
man,
just allegations. He was convicted. He was a child molester, and he was really horrible.
yeah,
Really, really
like
horrible.
really horrible. And I was thinking, like, I'm so glad I had that intuition and I listened to it. That like he is a dangerous man, and I am not going on his property. I am not going in his house.
Yeah, and so it's very important to teach your children, whether you believe in paranormal stuff or not, that they really should trust their intuition. If they think something's not right, just trust that. Because you really,
Absolutely.
they like bad people, and I'm not talking about people who just do some shit wrong. Like that's all of us, but like bad people, like you, you can tell they give off a different electricity for me,
Yeah.
and and I think for most people, like I think people just ignore it because people want to be polite. I would rather be alive than polite. Thank
What
you very much.
what was that book? I remember you recommending it to me. It was about people who like did or didn't trust their instincts in like
It's the gift of fear.
the gift of fear. That was like a really good read if you want to read something about like trusting your instincts
Hmm.
because that was good.
And that's another, and it might have come from that book. And I know I gave you guys this advice, and it's just good advice anyway. If you ever tell somebody no and they don't respect that, they are a predator. And there's been lots of cases, and let me tell you an instance where it seems benign, okay, but like say you're carrying your groceries and you're kind of struggling with it, and some guy's like, oh, let me, you're going to go up the stairs to your apartment or something, they're like, let me help you carry that, and you're like, no, that's okay, and they're like, oh no, I insist, let me help you, like you're struggling with that. No, your no is no. Like especially with women, and I know women play games sometimes, like I've seen it on the internet lately, like why is it that when a woman says no, no, now men are like, oh, okay, and they don't even try anymore because they're respecting you. So like, don't play those frigging games. If you're one of those ladies who plays games, don't do that, okay? And if you tell somebody no, it should be no. With men, if a man says no, it's the end of discussion, right? But so many times when a woman says no, whatever it might, and like I said, in the guise of helping you, it's the beginning of a negotiation. When I say no, I mean effing no.
Well, and to add on to that point, because you used the example of the grocery bags and the guy trying to be helpful, that's exactly what Ted Bundy did.
It is. And that lady that I believe it was in that book, The Gift of Fear. So that happened to a lady. She was struggling to get up to her apartment. This guy offered to help her with the groceries, and she's like, "No, that's okay. I've got it." And then she like dropped one of the bags, and there was some cat food. And he's like, "Oh, we got to get the food up there to feed the cats." And she finally relented and let him carry one of the bags, which he forced himself into her apartment when he got up there and brutally raped her. So she knew she didn't want him to help her, but you know what I mean? But then she didn't want to be impolite.
Well, and of course, there are times where people are going to offer to help you, and they're just genuinely nice people.
For sure.
So, I mean, that's where I say trust your instincts. Because I've had people, men, usually older men, especially when I have the little people with me, who will offer to like take my cart back for me. But they're not offering to do something
Right.
invasive. They're not trying to walk into my
I'm not
home.
talking about somebody offering you help. I'm talking about when you refuse the help and they keep persisting.
Yes.
That is a sheer sign that they do not respect you as a woman. Period. End of story. Your no is effing no.
And we've gotten a little off the paranormal thing, but that's one thing I will say about the paranormal versus the, living real world, whatever you want to call it. When you tell the paranormal to go, they have to go. There's no negotiation. They're not staying. They have to go. Okay? So, if ghosts can do it, other people can do it too.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, don't be wishy washy with if there's something bothering you, whether you believe it's real or not, because people can see some stuff and convince themselves it's not happening. Tell it to go anyway. Maybe you're
Yeah.
schizophrenic. I don't know, but it'll help.
Well, and so like we had that. I've had weird paranormal experiences when we lived in the one house, and then from then on until where I live now, I've had like all kinds of weird shit, pretty much everywhere. But I was in the shower in our apartment. We lived in Springfield at the time, and something would turn the lights off. Like I'd just be doing my thing, the lights would go off. My husband's like, "It's faulty wiring. It's this. It's that." I'm
Of
like, "Then
course,
why does it always turn the lights back on when I ask it to?"
right?
It's very polite, faulty wiring. But I was in the shower one day and I was like in a bad mood anyway, and it shut the lights off, and then my water went cold. And I just screamed, like, I will go Old Testament on you. And the lights came back on, the water was hot again, all was right in the land. So,
Right. Yeah, if I don't like something that's not visible or whatever, paranormal, whatever you want to call it, I just tell it to knock it off. That's not okay. Like, don't do that. That's scaring me. Please don't do that.
yeah,
And it usually will listen unless it's something really bad, like the Elburn house. The house was just
that
bad
place
juju.
was demonic.
It was demonic. It was so demonic.
And so, like, I think with the paranormal, we were kind of talking about this before we got on the show, but there's a few categories of things. There's the intelligent hauntings, which seems to be good or bad. They usually end up being bad. And then there's like the imprint, something that's just like and maybe it's not even really there. Maybe you're just seeing an echo of the past. So like the guy I talked about walking through the cemetery, I think that was just an imprint. I don't think it was an intelligent haunting. I don't think it was anything evil. It just seemed like we were seeing a memory or something somebody had of walking down that street. So,
Yeah, and I've had that happen before. And I mean, people are made up of energy. Energy doesn't die. Just so you know, like it doesn't go out of existence. It just transforms into something else. So if something happened like that was a routine thing every day for however long, it leaves an imprint. We believe. Again, there's absolutely no proof of that. I
right.
mean, but if you see something like somebody walking down a hall and you've seen it more than once, it probably isn't even something that's there. It's just an echo of the past. Somebody probably walked down that hall a million times.
Yeah. So like things like that don't really
Well, they're not anything.
they're not anything. Like I wouldn't think twice about that. Um Things that irritate me are things that like throw stuff at me, throw stuff at my children, start like calling out in other people's voices. Those are things that have to go.
Touching me is no bueno. I don't
Yeah,
like that
no
shit.
touching. I don't know that I've had anything touch me.
I've had them do that.
Well, and that's like you said, it's kind of everywhere. But I remember I was house sitting for your friend that one time, and then afterwards they were telling me about how they thought the house was haunted.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, yeah, you mean the guy? Like, he was right there. Like, he's been here the whole time. He just chilling. It's what happens. But it's always funny to me, like the people who, don't really believe it, and then they have something happen and they start trying to explain it, and you're like, yeah, I know,
Right.
I get it.
Right. I don't, I think the older I get, the more I'm able to turn it off. Like, like I don't have to notice it if I don't want to.
Well, and there were some like places we've been where it was just a lot, and I think,
But then I've been to some very haunted places that I would venture to tell you that they're not. So in Illinois, the Woodstock Opera House has actually been in the most haunted places, like on many most haunted lists, whatever. And I actually helped build sets for plays there, and I've never ever experienced anything paranormal in the Woodstock Opera House. So you would think, since I do experience this, I did not. Supposedly, an opera star who I believe hung herself supposedly haunts the place. I have never experienced her.
yeah, and then like places that people will tell you up and down all day long aren't haunted
Right,
and will have weird things. So like,
right. And just because it's a brand new house that was just built doesn't mean there's not weird shit there.
yeah, so where I went to college, I had weird stuff happen all the time. Like I was telling her I was in the shower one time, and like the dorms didn't have big showers. It was a very like the rooms were broken up into suites. So it'd be two rooms with four people and then one bathroom for four people. So I was in the shower and I heard crying, like somebody was crying like hysterically in the bathroom. So I'm like thinking it's one of my roommates. So I poke my head out. There's nobody in the bathroom. And like, okay, whatever. I'm going to take a shower. Just leave me alone. But this was like a new building. The building we were in was fairly new. It was not a place that was said to be haunted, but I had weird stuff happen there all the time. And then there was the day I was driving home from work. I had just gotten onto campus property and my radio was off and it turned on and it was a woman's voice, just like clear as day, and she said, I need to speak to you alone. And then it was like this cacophony of people reciting Hail Marys, and I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. So I turned the radio back off, parked my car, and just walked out. I'm like, not doing it. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. I don't know if I really have any more on that. I just think, like, especially with women, I think women do experience it a little bit more than men do, but I think women are just a little bit more savage than men. Like, in the fact that, like, we don't, we accept that nature is kind of wild. I mean, we have babies. It's not,
And
it's a pretty, like,
it's a very primal thing.
yeah, I think that's a good word. I think women are more primal than men. Like, we don't necessarily feel like everything needs to be explained all the time. And that's the reason I think that more women than men kind of experience things like this and don't really think that much of it. Like, it is part of the world we live in.
Well, and I think another thing that kind of goes to the fact that I think everyone, it's not something where like exclusive people can see these things, exclusive people can deal with them.
No.
I think everyone has that capacity. Some people suppress it more than others. And I think for a lot of people, when you start looking into it and you start believing it, you're going to start noticing it more. It's not that
True.
more paranormal things are happening,
True.
it's that you're paying more attention to them instead of writing them off as
Yeah,
some
because
other
I
cause.
don't think, because again, like with people who are psychic or whatever, which I don't believe everybody who says they're psychic is psychic, and I wouldn't consider myself psychic either, because I can't go, oh, I'm going to tell you a future. I sometimes have premonitions, and they happen. I usually know when it's a premonition or just a dream, because I most of my premonitions come in dream form. Um, but I don't think that it's that I'm unique in that. I think that I just remember the dream and I see them for what they are. I think everybody has the ability, like that guy who was talking from the CIA. Everybody has some instincts, whatever, that they just don't tap into. And it might be I did have a brain issue. My brain was squished for a long time. And the neurological what do you call them? No,
Symptoms?
not symptoms. The
Effects?
impulses,
Impulses.
the like electrical impulses that course through my body don't go where they need to all the time. So I wonder if that has something to do, because everything is energy, so I wonder if that has something to do with the fact that I might see more things than other people do. Or is it the fact that I used to take martial arts and we did a lot of meditation and we used to do a practice where you would um like your partner would think three colors and you would put your hands like above theirs and you would concentrate and try to see into their mind, and I almost always could guess all three colors, and then I started being able to go up to 10 colors, and with certain people I could guess numbers, even really high numbers, but it was a skill that we actually practiced. So I'm wondering if that's why, because we don't use all of our brain.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean? So for whatever reason, that part of some people can tap into whatever that part of their brain is, maybe more than others, or
yeah.
that part's more open. I'm not sure. Like I don't know. I have, like I said, this is not scientific at
Well,
all.
and just for the record on her premonitions, she called it 2 for 2 with my kids' genders.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of my premonitions are genders of people's babies, or like little weird things, or sometimes I will see something happening that is happening right now, but I'm not there. But then I find out that it happened, and it usually is the way I saw it. So that I don't know if that's like astral projecting, or I don't know what the fuck
I
it is.
don't know.
And it's not something I can like plan on. I can't be like, let me see what Clara is doing today. No, it's like all of a sudden randomly I'm gonna see something and I'm like, wow, that was weird. It felt really real. And then somebody's like, oh yeah, great grandma did die. I'm like, what?
Well, and if you ever want to become a believer of the paranormal, go spend some time in a nursing home, in a long term care
Yeah,
facility.
yeah,
Because after you've heard like several people give the exact same description of a man at the foot of their bed as they were dying,
yeah.
the exact same man every single time. And some people were happy to see him, and some people were terrified. So,
Right. And I think as moms, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I did. Like I had a really, really big connection with, weirdly not Lauren,
no, like no
which
connection here,
we're pretty close,
but
but
not
not.
psychically.
But with my other daughter, like I almost instinctually know when she's not doing okay, whether it be physically, mentally, or whatever, which is odd. And then there was the one time when she was out of the country, and I told my husband, I go, I think she's dead because I keep reaching for her. She's not there. She was not dead. So thankfully I was wrong, but it was very strange, like because I can usually, if I think about her enough, I can kind of know where she's at in her head, almost anywhere, no matter where she is in the world. But that one time I couldn't like even get any sense of anything, and it really freaked me out.
Yeah,
And then you had a theory as to why you think I'm like that with her, but not you.
I think just because you needed to be. Like, I think she needed you, especially when she first got sick, because it was kind of a rare illness, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Um, and there were several doctors
Just
who just
just one.
one doctor. There was the doctor who basically told you it's fine, nothing's wrong, or whatever. Basically, you got blown off, and they didn't really research into it, and it turned out
No,
to be
it
something.
wasn't that. It was that they diagnosed her correctly and everything. It's just that, so typically they will what she had. So they said typically they'll have like these horrible symptoms for like 6 to 8 weeks or whatever, and then it will eventually go away and there won't be chronic problems because of it. And there was chronic problems because of it. And she had several recurrences too, which wasn't supposed to be normal. But they did treat her correctly, like in the beginning or whatever. It's just that like they missed the kidney involvement, and part of that is just because. So we've talked about that before. Like yes, it's a paranormal episode, but we're moms first. So
Right.
um, if your child ends up with something hinko stinko or whatever, a regular hospital is not the same and very inferior to a children's hospital, even down to the equipment that they use to test
Assess.
things,
Yeah.
because it's not calibrated for children. So if you ever have a bad feeling or an intuition, whether you think it's paranormal or not, please, please, please take your child to a children's hospital, because If there's nothing wrong with them and you're just being hysterical, okay, now you have peace of mind. But if you're not, you could save your child's life.
Well, and like with Henry, when we did take him to the children's hospital, because I had a feeling, and thankfully I was wrong. I was just the hysterical mom, and he's perfectly fine, and we got a hefty hospital bill, but it doesn't matter to me because
Right.
I wanted to make sure my kid was okay. Because the thing I thought he had was extremely rare, um, but it just like popped up by chance, and I was looking at it and I was going, my kid does that, and I've been thinking it's weird. And like to validate me, the neurology team at the children's hospital agreed that it looked like that. Thankfully, it was not that. He's just weird. Um, but yeah, definitely, it seems hooey pooey weird, whatever. But you have an intuition with your kids that you should listen to, even if you're wrong 9 times out of 10.
Doesn't matter. And then, and so what I'd like to say, so if you believe in the paranormal, we don't think you're crazy. We believe in it too. If you don't believe in the paranormal, but we are women, and we do know that nature's not always tidied up in a little package with a nice little bow on it. We know nature is wild. We know nature is free, and so are we. So if you have mother intuition, please, please, please trust it.
Yes, always.
Just trust it, whether you believe in paranormal or not. You've got to believe that moms are some kind of awesome.
Sorry, these flies keep dive bombing me.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
very aggressive.
yeah. So, if you have any paranormal stories, we would love to read them.
We would, and we wouldn't judge you because we'd be like, wow, really?
Woo! I love watching like the paranormal TikToks and all those things. Like, I don't have TikTok, but I watch other people like play people's TikToks.
Yeah.
So, if you got paranormal stories, like drop them in the comments because we will read them, and I'm
We
excited to
certainly
hear.
will. And you know what? Like, but if you do believe in the paranormal, don't always assume everything is paranormal, though.
That
Because I do
too.
try to debunk the shit too when I'm like, because there's been a couple times that I'm like, ooh, hinko stinko, and then I find out it was like a tree tapping the window.
Yeah, for there's
So
definitely
not
been
everything's paranormal.
there's definitely been those like the door in this room actually. If you don't latch it all the way, you'll be sitting there and then it'll creak open. It's
Right,
because the door's not hung right, so it's not properly balanced.
right,
So if it's not all the way latched, it swings in the way that it's heavier. It's not paranormal.
right. So don't always jump to paranormal either, because you know, really, it's usually there isn't a logical explanation. If this fly,
I'm sorry. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, all that shit.